Performing descriptive analysis in SPSS. Hi, my name is Faisal Kalota, and in this presentation, we are going to look at how to perform some basic descriptive analysis in SPSS and how to calculate z-scores in SPSS. We will be using a data file that we have previously created as part of a different exercise. This data file is also attached to this presentation, and I have added some additional records in this data file, so some of the analysis that we will be performing are a little more meaningful. For the descriptive analysis, the commands that we will be using are located under the Analyze Descriptive Statistics menu, as you can see in Figure 1. And more specifically, we will be looking at the frequencies, descriptives, and crosstabs submenus in this presentation. Additionally, to calculate z-scores, the command to calculate the z-score is located under Analyze Descriptive Statistics and Descriptives. One additional item we will look at is how to set certain options within SPSS. These options are related to how the variables will appear in different windows within SPSS. So with that in mind, let's get into SPSS and perform some basic analyses. So here we are in the SPSS window. Anytime you're utilizing a data file that is created by somebody else, it is always an excellent idea to explore the file first. Go into the variable view and explore how the different variables are defined. So right now I'm in the variable view, and some of the things that you should look at is what is the name of the variable? What are the labels associated with the different variables? Remember, the labels are supposed to be descriptive in nature so that people who are using this file can understand the purpose of the different variables. Also look at the values column. You can see that some variables do not have any values defined, whereas certain other variables such as class, status, and gender, they have certain values defined in them. So what you should do is click in one of these cells and further explore what are the different values and the associated labels that have been defined for that particular variable. So for example, for class status, you can see that the different labels include freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, and the values associated with these labels are 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. Also look at the measures column. The measures column will identify the measures for different variables. That is, how are they defined in terms of their measurement, such as nominal, ordinal, scale. With the measures such as nominal, ordinal, scale, you will also see these little icons. These icons represent the type of measures. And if I go back to the data view, you can see that next to each variable names, you will see those icons or symbols appearing as well. So they can help you identify the measure of these variables from the data view as well. Going back to the variable view, one additional item to note is that the items that are listed under the label column, those pieces of information will also be displayed as part of your output. So for example, let's say you generated a histogram for the GPA variable. So as part of the histogram, or as part of the title of the histogram, you will see the word student GPA appear in the histogram somewhere. So please take a look at the labels as well, because again, they will also appear as part of your output. Now going back to the data view. So you can see that in my data view, I have the datas for the different variable. And you can see that for the GPA variable, one value is missing, which was done intentionally because I would like to demonstrate how the frequency distribution table is displayed, particularly when you have some values that are missing. In the data view, you can see that on the toolbar, you can see the different icons. And this particular icon, which is the value labels icon, if you click on it, it will toggle the display between the value mode and the label mode. Meaning if I press this button, you can see for the gender and class status variable, it will display the full labels associated with the different values. Whereas if I click on this button again, you can see it will now only display the different values. So instead of showing one, if I want to show the full form such as freshman, sophomore, female, male, I should keep this button pressed. So it will show me the full form. And remember, those values and labels are defined in the variable view under the values column. So for this exercise, I'll keep this button pressed so that the full data is being displayed. So it's easy to understand the data that's in this file. Now, before we start performing our analyses, I wanted to point out one additional item that is related to the preferences of SPSS, and that is located under the Edit Options menu. If you click on Edit and Options, and this dialog box comes up, under the General tab, you will see this box called Variable List. In this box, you can select certain options that will affect how the different variables are displayed in certain windows within SPSS. So right now you can see that Display Labels is selected, and it is also selecting this option called File, meaning the variables will be displayed in the same order in which they are listed in the file. So let me quickly show you what I mean by this. So if I simply cancel out of this dialog box, and let's say if I simply click on Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Descriptives. So you can see in this dialog box right here, in this window, you can see the different variables that are a part of this file. And you can see what it is displaying is the full label associated with the variable along with the name of the variable within brackets. And you can see that these variables are listed in the same order in which they are listed in the file. So student ID is first, then gender, then class status, then weight, and then GPA. Now, for some people, this might be perfectly fine. And for some other people, this view may not be ideal. And generally, if you have somebody else's data file that has too many variables, generally this kind of a view may not be very beneficial. So what I would like to do, I just simply like to display just the variable names, and I like them to be displayed in alphabetical order. So it's easier to locate those variables. So I'm going to show you how to set that. However, you do not have to perform this operation. If you like your view to, if you're okay with this kind of a view where the labels and the variables are displayed, then you can keep it as is. So how can I do that? I'll click on Edit, Options. Under the General tab, in this Variable List dialog box, I'll select Display Names, and I'll select this option called Alphabetical, and simply click OK. Click OK. And then if I click on Analyze, Descriptives, and Descriptives again, so you can now see that my variables are listed in alphabetical order, and only the names of the variables are appearing. So this way it's easy for me to locate a variable in a huge list conveniently. Okay, so all the remaining tutorials in our course, you will notice that my view will generally show you just the variable names. Okay. All right. So I think now we are ready to go into SPSS and perform some basic descriptive analysis. So the first type of analyses that we will perform are related to variables that are either interval or scale. Interval or ratio, I mean. So in SPSS, they're mainly classified as a scale. So I'll click on Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and two of the menu options that we can look at is frequencies and descriptives. Now in SPSS, you can perform the same type of analysis a couple different ways. So I'll show you one method of using the frequencies menu. Then we'll take a look at the descriptives menu, and then we'll look at the crosstabs menu. So let's click on Analyze, Descriptives, and Frequencies. Now, in SPSS, when these dialog boxes come up that will help you perform some of the analysis, you will generally notice that it will have at least two text boxes. The text box on the left hand side will list all the variable names, and the text box on the right hand side will generally be empty. And what you will have to do is take some of the variables from the left hand side and transfer them into the right hand side. So you are telling SPSS that, hey, I am interested in performing some analysis on this variable. That is why it is under the variable box. So we will select the GPA variable, and remember the GPA variable had a missing data in it as well. So I'll bring it on the right hand side, and notice by default the frequency table is selected, meaning it will also generate a frequency distribution table for us. Now for the GPA variable, what type of analysis would you like to perform? Well, to do that, you will click on Statistics, and in this dialog box you can select the different analysis that you are interested in. So for the sake of this exercise, we will select mean, median, mode, skewness, standard deviation, variance, range, and quartiles. We'll select these options, click continue. And now if you're interested in generating a graph, so you will click on charts, and from this menu you can select three different types of charts: bar chart, pie chart, and histograms. Now you just have to make sure that the chart that you are selecting is appropriate for the type of data that you are trying to analyze. So we will select histogram, and you can also superimpose a normal curve on the histogram. We will not do that right now because sometimes it can be a little confusing. And I'll simply click continue. And under formatting, we don't have to worry about here and anything here. And we will simply click OK. So now let's take a look at the SPSS output. Now in the SPSS output window, you can see that there are a couple of tables as well as a histogram. As part of this presentation, when I am going over the histogram or a table, what I will normally be doing is I will be double clicking on the table or the histogram so that I can easily go over some of the information that's in the table or the histogram. However, you are not required to double click on the table while going through this presentation. So let's take a look at this first table, which is giving you some basic statistics. Now, if you look at this table, you can see that it is listing student GPA. Remember, this is the label associated with the GPA variable. So it's saying for the student GPA variable, here are some descriptive data, such as the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and all those things. So you can see the percentiles are listed here as well. So if you would like to calculate the interquartile range, which is also known as the IQR, what you can do is take the difference of the 75th and 25th percentile, and that will give you the IQR. The other thing you will see is the skewness statistic, which is 0.183, and the standard error of skewness, which is 0.524. Remember from our presentations that if you take the skewness statistic and divide that by the standard error of skewness, and if that result is greater than plus or minus 2, then you have significant skewness. The other thing you can consider is that if your distribution was perfectly normal, then this skewness statistic would be 0. Okay, so that's a little bit about some descriptive statistics that you should understand. Now let's go to the student GPA variable. One more thing before we go to the student GPA variable is that generally you may not see a perfectly normal distribution. So I just wanted to point out about in terms of the skewness. So if the skewness statistic is positive, so you can say that okay, this distribution is either significantly skewed towards the positive side, or it may be close to being normally distributed with a slight positive skew. So that is how you would basically word the description of the distribution. Now let's go to the student GPA table, or sorry, the frequency distribution table. This frequency distribution table is associated with the student GPA variable, and it will display 4 columns. So let's go over each one of these columns. The first column will display all the values that are in your data set. Okay, so in your data set you have one record which is listing 2.25, then another one is listing 2.75, so on and so forth. The first column will simply show you the raw frequency, how many times this particular value is occurring in your data set. So 2.25 is occurring once, 2.75 is occurring 3 times, so on and so forth. And if you look at the bottom, it will tell you that in my data set I have a total of 19 records, and there is one record that has missing data. So altogether in my data set there were 20 records, and out of those 20 records, 19 had the value of GPA listed, and there was one value, one GPA or one record that did not have the GPA value listed. Now let's go over to the second column, which is the percent column. The percent column will tell you how many times a value is occurring in terms of the percentage. And this percent column will also account for the missing values. So you can see that it's saying that 2.25 is occurring 5% of the time in our data set. And then you can look at all the different other percentages. But you can also see at the bottom it is saying that in this data set there was one missing value, which also accounts for 5% of the entire data set. So you can see that the total of the percent column is always 100, which includes both the missing and non-missing percentages. The third column, which is the valid percent column, this column will basically show you the percentage of the values based on the data that is present in the data set. It doesn't account for the missing values. So that's why you will notice that the valid percentage is slightly different than the actual percentage. And again, it will all depend how many missing values you have in your data set. And finally, the last column, which is the cumulative percentage column. This column is a running total of the valid percent column. So you will notice that the first row will always have the same value as the first row for the valid percent. But as you go down the different rows, you will notice that it is a cumulative or a running total of the valid percent. So for example, if I look at the second row, which is for the value of 2.75, the valid percent is 15.8, but the cumulative percent is 21.1, which is basically the sum of the previous valid percentage and the existing valid percentage. Likewise, if you go to the third record, the cumulative percent here is 26.3, which is again the sum of the existing valid percent and all the previous valid percentages. So another way to interpret this cumulative percent column is by making statements like saying something like that 26.3% of the values in our data set are less than or equal to 2.88. Remember, 2.88 is the value of GPA that's in our data set. So this cumulative percentage is telling us that about 26.3 percentages or 26.3% of the values in our data set is below is less than or equal to 2.88. And finally, you have the histogram. And in the histogram, again, you can kind of eyeball the histogram and you can kind of see that it is positively skewed. which is consistent with the skewness statistic that we saw earlier, that it indicated that there was some positive skewness. Whether that was significant or not, we did not perform that calculation right now. And you can see as part of this histogram, you can see the student GPA label also being displayed as part of this histogram. And the histogram will also show you some additional information such as mean, standard deviation, and the number of values in this data set. And it will only account for the non-missing values. All right, so that's one way of performing some descriptive analysis related to values that were on the interval or ratio level. Now let's take a look at another menu, which is again under Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Descriptives. And this time what we will do is we will explore the weight variable, bring it on the right hand side. And if I click on options, there are different options that I can select in terms of what type of analysis should I perform, such as mean, median, etc. For this exercise, we'll keep it simple and we'll simply select mean and standard deviation, and we'll click continue. And in this main dialog box, you will notice that this option is here, which is called Save Standardized Values as Variables. This option, if you select it, it will generate the z-scores for all the variables in this window. So if I leave this selected and simply click OK, in my output I can see that it is displaying the student weight variable, how many participants are there, the mean, and the standard deviation. And if I were to go back in the variable view, I can see a new variable is created. It is called ZWT. There is a prefix of Z, which stands for the z-score, and followed by the name of the original variable, which was WT. So it is showing us the different z-scores associated with the different values in the weight variable. So for the weight variable, the value of 185, it has a z-score of 0.41825. Now z-score is something that we will be covering in future, but while we are in this presentation, I thought I'll point this out as well. Now z-scores have one important property, that for any distribution of z-scores, if I calculate the mean and standard deviation, it will always be 0 and 1 respectively. So if I can quickly show you, if I click on Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Descriptives, and you can see that the weight variable is already selected. And if I take the z-score associated with the weight variables, bring it on the other side, and under Options, remember I have the mean and standard deviation selected, and I simply click OK. You can see in the output it shows the student weight variable, and for the student weight variable the mean is 176.8 and the standard deviation is 19.606, and it also shows us the z-score for the student weight, and for these scores the mean is 0 and standard deviation is 1. All right. And now let's go ahead and look at a couple of additional analyses. So one thing I forgot to point out, I forgot to do, is when I clicked on Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Descriptives, I forgot to uncheck this option, because of which it generated these two additional z-scores. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. And you can delete a column by right-clicking on it and simply say Clear and Clear. All right. Now let's take a look at another type of analysis. Let's say in your data you have two categorical variables. One is gender and one is class status. And you would like to find out how many females are freshmen, or how many males are freshmen, or how many males are junior, how many males are senior. So essentially you would like to see a breakdown of the count of gender based on class status, or the other way around. In such instances, what you can do is you can generate what's called a cross table or crosstab. To generate a crosstab or cross table, you will click on Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and crosstabs, and select one of the categorical variables. It could be either the class status or gender, and put them under rows, and take the other categorical variable and put it in columns. And again, you could do it the other way around. You can put the columns, you can put the genders in row and class status in columns. That's perfectly fine as well. I'll actually do that because it might display the table a little, the table might be easier to interpret. And if you click on the cells button, by default this observed option will be selected. You just want to make sure it is selected. Simply click continue, and you will click OK. Now before you click OK, you just want to make sure that you understand that the crosstabs is used when both variables are categorical. And simply click OK, and you will see you will get a little cross table here. So it shows you that, okay, in the rows it will show you the gender and the different labels associated with the gender variable, male and female, and then in the columns it will show the class status and the different labels associated with the class status. So now you can see that we have two males that are freshmen, 3 females that are freshmen, so on and so forth. And at the end of each column or at the end of each row, you will also see these marginal totals. So here it is displaying that in my data set there were 9 males and 11 females. And if I look at this total column on at the bottom, it is basically showing me that in my data set I have 5 freshmen, 6 sophomore, 5 junior, and 4 senior. And this last value here is the sum of the entire data set that we had 20 records in our data set. So that's a little bit about cross tables. One thing to keep in mind that I forgot to point out earlier, that when you are generating graphs such as histograms or bar charts, you want to make sure that the data type is appropriate for that type of chart. So for example, if your data is on a continuous scale, a histogram would be appropriate, whereas if you have data that is nominal or ordinal, a bar chart would be appropriate. Same thing with the analysis. So if your data is on a continuous scale, that is either interval or ratio, then you can do mean, median, mode, etc. But if your data is categorical, such as male, female, or class status, in that case, mean and median may not be very meaningful, or standard deviation will not be very meaningful. In those instances, you will need to look at the frequency distribution table, you need to look at the mode, etc. So with that, we will conclude this presentation. So in this presentation, we looked at how to perform some basic descriptive analysis and how to generate z-scores, and also how to change some preferences within SPSS. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact me, and thank you for watching this presentation.